Oh, wow. This look like the same place to me. Oh, wow. This look like the same place to me. Sheesh. Wow. Yeah. Heard is getting evicted. Guess not. Damn. Still building, huh? Wow. Still building. Wow, you think? You think? Oh, wow. Wow, look like the same place to me. Oh, wow. Look at this. It says IFC. I still like that. Yeah. Hey, Jimothy Jones, you still here? You still here. Look like the same place to me. It looked like the same place to me. What? It's not a light. That ain't no light. That's not a light. That's a firefly. It's not a light. Like same place to me. It's in your build. We're in a simulation. The simulation is AI. This AI. This AI. This is crazy. You're building more.
Oh man, so that's Maino's reaction to the situation with Jim Jones. 50 Cent doing all he's been doing and all this extra stuff, alright? So, but right here we talking about Maino. Let's talk about Wayno, man. I did a video that I've been meaning to put out that Wayno did some investigative work, and he claims that the landlord has been lying on Jim Jones while being incentivized to do business with 50 Cent. Now I know it's all beef between 50 and Jim Jones. I know how 50 get down in this beef. And I'm a 50 Cent fan. Way more of a 50 Cent fan than Jim Jones, but 50 been doing some weird shit lately, bro. And I'm much more of a man than a fan. 50, you been wildin', bro. So right here is my reaction to Wayno's coverage of the situation where he's basically saying Jim has been getting done wrong by this landlord. I'm matching that with a pure reaction. This is me trying to get information right here, but I did it with y'all because Wayno already got it up, and I want to show love to Wayno's platform, who's killing it on YouTube, and it's much deserved. I always say he has great perspective when it comes to the music industry because he was in it, and he's also very informative and has, you know, great takes from a well-balanced manner. So shout out to Wayno. I like everything that he has coming for him within this content creation lane. But let's see what he has to say about this situation. I want to see the input he has on the Jim Jones landlord shit because he's saying that buddy a liar. What's up with that?
The other day we seen this video of Jim kicking doors, being irate, running around, people saying, yo, he done cut the lights off. And listen, it looked bad. It still looks bad, right? Let's just keep it 100. The optics of the situation look horrible, but that's not all that's there, right? So look, Jim don't owe no rent. I done found out that Jim doesn't actually owe any rent. He's just been having a problem with the guy that's the landlord of the building for some time. They fell out really, really early or whatever, right? And they have their own issue. Now, the situation that's happening right now is the dude trying to break the lease. He's trying to break the lease. And why would he try to break the lease? Because he wants to figure out if he could do some sort of business with 50 Cent. Now, the thing about Jim being in that building is this. Listen up. We're going to keep this straight to the point.
An enemy of my enemy is a friend to me. That's how 50 be moving, bro. Let's see what Wayno talking about, bro.
If he wants to do business with 50 or not. Jim has a 5-year lease. A 5-year lease, and he's not backed up on rent. And I know, like I said, the optics look crazy. But this dude, this landlord, nigga janky, yo. Like, I ain't gonna front, he janky. I done found out that he's janky. But look, he created that document himself. Remember the document that we saw the other day? He created the document himself. But I started doing some digging about what, you know, landlords can and cannot do pertaining to evicting somebody in New York City. It says, yes, that they can create and serve a written eviction notice, such as a 14-day rent demand or a 30-day notice to quit, to initiate the eviction process. Now, there's also other stipulations that have to be had in order for you to get somebody out of a building.
So he can create the document on his own, but there's stipulations that comes with it. Okay. But just the sound of him creating it on his own sounds wild, but he can do that.
If they are at that point, but you got to be going to court. You got to be in court in order to make these things happen. I myself, when I was a kid, we went through a rough patch. Marshall had the superintendent of the building open up the door. I was in the crib sick. I was a kid at the time. My mom was at work. My little sister was at school. I was in the crib sick and made me get out the crib. But a marshal and the superintendent had to be instructed in order to get us out of the building or get us out. Luckily, The rent was backed up a little. My mom's had paid it. It just hadn't gotten through. All right, cool. But listen to this. However, they cannot force a tenant out, change locks, or cut utilities without a court-ordered warrant or eviction executed by law enforcement. So we see this thing, and you know the joke's been flying.
That's a problem. If he didn't go through the proper channels, then that's a problem, because he definitely was cutting the lights based on what they're saying, cutting utilities and also locking doors and shit. That's a problem.
You chasing around the landlord, chase the heat bill. Know what I mean? You kicking the doors and all of that. But the reason why Jim was even kicking those doors is this. Dude came in there. He came in there and changed some locks or put locks on things that he wasn't authorized to do. Again, right? Let's read again for proper context. However, they cannot force a tenant out, change locks, or cut utilities without a court-ordered warrant or eviction executed by law enforcement. So you need to have a marshal there and possibly the police, but you don't need the police if the marshal is there. They, you know, in that situation is higher ranked than the police on what they can and cannot do. The police will probably be there to supervise the situation, right? But guess what? He made the document, put it up, and then he started changing locks, which he wasn't authorized to do. But there is something else to this. When that footage came out, right? Like when we seen that footage the other day, when Jim is kicking on the doors and shit, running around, getting mad at the lady who came out and asked the question, that same dude came to the building. When he came to the building, when a nigga came to the building, the authorities was there. And guess what? The authorities made him vacate the premises because he had broken the law. So yeah, it looks bad. Don't get it twisted. The shit looked crazy. Of course, we never seen, I can't say we never seen. I can't think of somebody offhand that we seen running through a building, kicking doors or trying to kick in doors to find out what's going on. But this dude is cutting off the lights. He's he's cutting off the lights, putting on locks on tops of doors that don't need to be locked. And all for what? Because him and Jim just have a difference. You know?
Alright, so one, I'm glad to hear that Jimmy ain't doing bad money-wise, and he did it overextend himself. I was 100% wrong with thinking that. The optics look bad, and it made me believe like, how would you go through the situation? But damn, it really is somebody on some flaw shit, powered by a battery in his back, which is 50 Cent.
I mean, they're having a difference now. I didn't get the info on that difference, right? But the craziest part about it is, for him to have been there when the authorities was there, he wasn't apprehended, right? Like they didn't lock him up or nothing like that, but they told him that he had to leave even though he's the landlord because he's in breach, right? Now, back to the situation with 50 and how he's making this all look. I mean, let's keep it 100. 50 is great. He's great at making a bad situation worse. The way he poses or puts things. I mean, he's the more popular person in the situation, so we all understand why the Chinese nigga would try to be, you know what I mean, doing business with him rather than do it with Jim, because he's probably thinking, oh, we could build the next movie studio, the next film studio up here if we could get him out. That still doesn't constitute him doing the shit that he's doing to try to remove Jim from the building. The thing is this, and we're gonna explore these conversations over the next this episode and the next episode. When does 50 stop? When does 50 stop? Because yeah, right? Like, enemies, crush your enemy totally. We know that he reads the 48 laws of power. He made the 50th law of power, Robert Greene and all of that shit. But when does it stop with necessarily the pettiness? I don't even think that it's about growing up or not. Because as we all can see, the nigga's a grown-ass man. He's a father. You know what I mean? He got things going on for himself. But when does he stop antagonizing Jim? Now, the thing for Jim is this. I feel like most people are not necessarily just picking, right? But we're looking at it from every lens that we can get the content or the information from. They're looking at it, oh, Jim is just irresponsible. He's young. He's doing a bunch of dumb shit. He ain't got his shit together. Cool. All right. With that being said, cool. But even with that, what does that have to do with 50 Cent? Has absolutely nothing to do with 50 Cent. I mean, one could think, like, if you were a true dick rider, right, like this landlord, you would go on to say, well, hey, it's to the end. It's up no matter what. Like, if I got a problem with you, My problem is to the end, like you in some sort of gang war and you not. But we're literally talking about legal situations versus what can be done versus what a person wants to do. I said it before, I'm gonna say it again. Jim has a 5-year lease. A 5-year lease. Now,
I ain't gonna lie. That definitely like makes me look at 50 way differently, man. He loses a lot of credibility in my eyes. If like, you know, everything that Wayno's saying is true. You know, he's just speaking word of mouth. And once again, you know, we have nothing that's being shown to us tangibly. Just Wayno's word. And if you respect Wayno's word, then you're gonna just move off of that. But if this is true, then 50's position is just crazy, you know. I get it, you know, when it comes to trying to win social media and shit, I get it when it comes to that point because he didn't like things that Jim said about him. Don't ruin your credibility just going with some bullshit, throwing some shit against the wall, and it more than likely sticking because you have a big fan base. That's really up, bro.
has his approach been the best as to how he's been doing his things? Nah, right? The nigga's rough around his edges, which that we ain't making no excuses for. He still got to get himself, you know, pull himself together and do the things that he need to do so that he's not going through these same situations. But keep in mind, this landlord is out of pocket. What's some G shit? Imagine you're building out of space, right? You're building out of space and you putting money into it, time, whatever. You got people that's working for you, whatever. And because he would rather have another tenant in there than you, he's going above and beyond to try to make it seem as if the things is wrong. Now, one of the things that struck me out was the whole content conversation.
Trying to build it, but he won't sign the lease. He's like, I don't like these terms. I want like 6 months of build out and ridiculous bullshit. We also have a partnership agreement where half of what he's building now, his media, belongs to us. But he won't tell us how much he's making and doing all these things. So half of the content he's creating, if you want to buy that too, I'll sell you half the company. He's not a business. He's like insane. To me, it's worth very little to nothing. But if it works out for you, I just throw that in as a sweetener. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is he signed a lease with me. Right now he owes, I'm going to say in a short way, at least $80,000, if not $180,000.
Okay, man, with further context, man, definitely got to say, Jim Jones, bro, you going through a rough situation, film that shit next time. Especially with 50 Cent teasing X, Y, and Z type shit as far as ammo on you. You should have been filming that shit, dog. I know you probably ain't thinking the landlord was going to give 50 the footage, but that's the reason why he gave 50 the footage, to be petty, because he lost that battle right there. But next time for sure, bro, film any interactions, have the cameras rolling, got homies around, have that shit rolling. Because if you had the proof to show that the dude got escorted out by police, that's a big W. I know you heard the audio of the landlord talking to 50 Cent, man. You gotta be on your P's and Q's when it comes to this shit, because this is part of the game when it comes to playing the narrative game, especially when you got niggas like 50 Cent that's petty. You got enemies like him, man. You gotta think differently, but this ain't your fault. From what we saying, based on what Wayno saying, if he's saying 100% the truth, you know, you gotta take it with a grain of salt. But you know, Wayno hasn't shown me to be a nigga that just be lying and shit. But if what he's saying is 100% true, 50 on some weird shit, although it is beef, it's some weird shit, and niggas trying to play with you, bruh. So it ain't your fault. It ain't your fault, but it's like you playing this game or you getting back and forth. Ain't no fair ones when it comes to this shit. Niggas ain't trying to be fair with you. So good luck, man. That's sick that you got to go through that shit. But good luck, Jim. Good luck, Jim. Shout out to Wayno for that update. Make sure y'all go to his channel. I'll try to make sure I remember to link it in the description below. But in the meantime, y'all gotta let me know what you guys say in the comment section below. I'm going to get up out of here though. This is another update with Stace. Yo.